her anyway, in the beginning, Lucilla and I sometimes talk about our education. And I said to her one time, well, when I went to school, I had to study Latin for 5 years, right? And because Latin is the language behind the Romance languages, French, Spanish, Portuguese, Romanian, and
Hungarian.
no, Italian.
Really?
Italian.
Italian?
And so I said, I studied Latin for 5 years, right? And Lucilla said, well, we had to study it, I think it was 9 years, because it's the main language, of course, behind Italian.
Right.
Anyway, so I looked up the word gratitude, and it's grazia. And anybody who's been to Catholic church, I used to go with all my friends. My best friends were Catholic. I used to go a lot. And there's a song, Ave Maria, and they say, Maria Grazia Plena, right? Full of grace. So gratitude and the word grace are connected.
Gracia. Gracia.
Yeah. Gracias. Yeah. Bella, bella, right? Anyway, so how are they connected? Well, number one, I figured out, I think there's 3 kinds of gratitude or situations. And the first one is we don't deserve something, we don't expect something, and that is grace. People give something to us unexpectedly. We don't say, I want that, like little kids. They eventually get over it when mom says no, many times. But if people, out of the goodness of their hearts, give us something that we don't deserve, or we haven't earned, and we didn't indicate I want that, that's grace. That's a kind of grace. Easy way to think about it, birthday presents, okay? We are grateful. We have, to give you, for your leadership, You didn't ask for it. She was totally taken aback from what I can see. But enjoying it, but this is something we didn't earn. But somebody gives it to us because that other person is good and sees something good in us. Easy. Birthday. So you say thank you. Okay. So number 2, there's a different kind. This one involves suffering, and I think Jane mentioned about suffering. Suffering's everywhere, unfortunately. And the second kind of grace, I think, is there's a little bit of suffering in there, but what we get from our little suffering, I'll explain it, is a kind of reward. So the second kind, I thought, we have to accept something, go through something, although it's kind of painful. And we kind of ask for that, but we still have to go through suffering, but it's not so much. And I'm sorry, Mr. Moon, you will never totally understand what we women understand, which is having a baby. I mean, I hope you don't understand that, in this day and age. But that we kind of asked for, we want to have children, but who knew what it was like? Oh God, Anyway, we asked for it. Getting our children, whatever, is a reward, but we had to suffer to get it. So that was, definitely. Many hours, few hours, doesn't matter. It's not wonderful. Did you know that In King has 5 children?
Oh.
How did she do that? I don't know. Little lady, wow, amazing. 5 children, lots of suffering.
Oh, that's good.
God is good, right? Thank you, right? So we kind of asked for it, but anyway, but we get a reward, a beneficial outcome. And the third kind, I think you were referring to this one, Jane, is a kind of undeserved suffering, where we or anybody didn't do anything bad, but it might be, I think Koreans believe in the influence of ancestors on us. forget it in America, you know. Anything we can't see through the microscope doesn't exist, right? But I think Koreans have a great sense of the ancestors, so something like that, you know, suffering caused by something out of our control, right? But we still can feel gratitude through that, fortunately or unfortunately.
Well, I think when we start to do that, we become actually like a messiah.
Well,
Like it's actually parents do that also.
yeah,
Care about.
yeah, sure.
When you
Many people do that, yeah.
anybody who does that, because
Yeah, we still get great benefits, but we have to go through a lot more, okay? A lot more. So there is a kind of reward, but where does the suffering come from? And this is the most poignant kind, the most terrible kind, because it's kind of an innocent victim goes through suffering. But still, there's some possible kind of reward, perhaps based on our attitude or the other person's attitude, but there's something, there's some good effect, okay? And so to talk about this, I want to talk about my beloved second son, Mr. He looks the most Asian of all my children, right?
most Asian.
How old is he?
Well, now he's, oh my God, 37.
37.
But he still looks like 18 to me, but anyway. And he's very pure and good guy, you know. And I'm talking about him because he was born with this huge heart problem. Yeah, I remember, and I had a cesarean for, 4 cesareans, because, you know, whatever. So they took him away right away, couldn't even hold him or see him, and he was in a little, he was not born early, he was born just the regular time, he wasn't underweight, just the heart was a big problem. So he was kept in a nice warm box, and then maybe 2 hours after he was born in upstate New York, they put him in an ambulance and sent him up to Albany, you know, a special children's hospital. There's so many children apparently with heart problems that they had them all there. So I never even got to hold him for like 5 days or something, you know? Yeah. Anyway, so he did not deserve that. He did nothing wrong, just a baby, no problem. And then, but he lived, and you know, he's my hero, actually, one of my special heroes, because he never complained, and I complain all the time. How come those men I asked yesterday in the Shinsei department of shopping did not know where they kept the paper plates. They were staff members and they didn't know. Boy, how that stupid is that? You know, you know. And maybe that guy lost his job because he couldn't tell me. Mean. But anyway, this guy never complained about it.
Mother's pet.
But, well, but Mr. Magne thinks, you know, that Mr. Magne thinks I like him best because he's the Magne, the youngest one, you know. But so one time I bought him a Christmas ornament that said, "Mom likes me best," you know. But you know, I figured out why women dote on the youngest child. I figured it out. Because it's our last chance to make a perfect child.
Get it right.
Yes. I know what I did wrong, right? The first one that said, okay, one more chance. I get this. I'm not going to do this. But then we make other mistakes. But anyway, yeah. So, in 2011, I got a call from my friend in Alaska, one of my 2 best friends, whom I have known for 70 years. 70? I have known, yes. I have 2 friends whom I have known for 70 years. I'm 78.
Wow.
Yeah, 70. This Clinton, medical doctor, worked in Alaska, loves heaven, earth, people, animals, nature. She wanted my second son. Oh, yeah, high school. Yeah, good. Come live with me. Oh, 3 years? Yeah, my second son's almost the same age. Yeah, whatever. So she called me, medical doctor, and she said, get on an airplane now. Your son is dying of sepsis in Anchorage. Sepsis is poisoned blood. And nobody knew how he got it. I mean,
The second son?
yeah, already had a heart problem, and of course it went right to the heart. And nobody knew how he got it. I don't know. He said the doctor's looking between his fingers and toes, did you take drugs? And no, nothing. He just got it. He didn't deserve it. He almost died. I kind of like was a robot, went, got a suitcase, and it's September. Well, I know Alaska's kind of cold. I just threw in some stuff and I just went. And when I got there, they said, well, we've tried every medicine, every combination, nothing's working. And my first son came from New York too. At that time, and they said, we have one more combination. If it doesn't work, I'm sorry. But it worked, thank God. It worked. Saved him. Yeah, almost died. It worked.
What worked?
So the combination of medicines. Finally, so he was able to be saved, right? So there was a good result from the suffering, which was his life, The gift was his life, right? And then, like around 2014, then he moved back to New York to be with his brothers, They all live in New York. And then one day he didn't have a job yet. My youngest son had gone to school or work, whatever. He was all alone. He never told me this at all. I heard this years later, And he basically had a heart attack at home. And he had no money, zero money. I don't know how that happened. I said, why did you have no money? Why didn't you tell me? Whatever. No money. And what was he supposed to do? So he walked out of his apartment and he walked, stopping because his heart was going very fast and then very painful. He walked to the subway. He didn't have any money to take a taxi. And I've walked to the subway from their house, and it's not short. I was shocked when I heard this years later. And he thank goodness had an elevator, didn't have to walk up many steps. Anyway, and he took himself to a hospital on the subway. And, they brought him into the emergency room, and then it was like, okay, get the paddles, clear, So they resuscitated him again. So he had his life back, but he never complained. Why is this happening to me? No, nothing. And then in 2016, he had a 6-hour heart operation at New York, Langone, NYU Hospital, which is right down the street from the UN, with the two best heart surgeons in the world. One was a French guy, right? Sorry, I have French ancestors too, but this guy was totally arrogant. Very French, very French. Oh, yes. Yeah, he was good. And the other American, but anyway. And usually they crack your breastbone, but they didn't do that for him because this French guy and the other guy, they had invented some kind of robotic hands. So they just stood there and used the robots and sewed up his heart or whatever they had to do, right? And so he lived and he never complained. He had so many. I took a picture. black and blue marks because of putting in the robot hands and the breathing tube. He had a big tube in his neck, you know, for feeding and stuff. And anyway, he never complained. He was in terrific pain afterwards because they didn't give him strong enough medication. But he was, but he never complained. Anyway, he has his life back, and he's grateful, and nothing stops him. He's still working. He still plans to. He's in Anchorage now, but he plans to move back to New York. So he got his life back, and he suffered without complaining. But still, as you said, you know, just went forward, maximized. You said maximize what we have.
Yeah.
Yeah. He got a job in Anchorage, Alaska, with the state of Alaska for 5 years doing a computer job.
Oh.
I always call him up. Hey, how come I do this? Or even other things. Hey, I want to see a tape. I forgot how I put on my DVD. You know, little things. He's my go-to man for machines, you know. But he's still very kind. No problem, Mom. Anytime. It's good. Yeah, so good. And this time there was a tangible. Tangible means something you can see or touch. A tangible result, a good gift. After his heart operation, not only was he alive, but that operation cost at least $300,000. And, of course, who could pay? But it turned out, nobody knew this, I didn't know it. The company he was working for, Time Warner Cable, that owns CNN, he was working as a bilingual interpreter there in that office. They had an insurance policy that paid for that. So he just had to pay a little. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't. Yeah, I don't know what I'd be doing the rest of my life. You know. Anyway, that was like a tangible reward, but still. Anyway, but you know, there doesn't have to be a big reward. Just the fact that we're alive is, for some people, a reward enough. So yeah, and he's grateful and he's cheerful, but and as I said, he's going to go back with the Bros, his brother. They all live. They're going to live all in New York. You know, although my second son has a girlfriend from Thailand that he wants to get married to, so maybe he'll be moving out soon. Who knows? But anyway, so sometimes it's saying grateful things or being grateful, but sometimes it's just recognizing you've been given a gift and just going on without complaining or saying much to other people. So I really admire him because I would be squawking my head off. Oh my God, why is this happening to me? Blah, blah, blah. You know, but he is just. Okay, Mom, I'll help you. So, my conclusion. I thought about this a lot, you know. Number one, where we get grace. Somebody gives us a gift, and you can say that Kimberly gave us this wonderful gift that we're enjoying, and I can see. And we didn't deserve it, but she just loved us so much. She's a good person of goodness that just helps everybody. And so we appreciate something like that. Okay? Second, gratitude can involve terrible suffering, but we might have asked for it in some way. We might be responsible for the second kind, where we do suffer, but eventually we get a result. Children, also, anything minor like, but not minor, going to the dentist. Ooh, that's a bad one, right?
Yeah.
When I walk into the dentist, I say, "Chusa." I walk in the door, shot, I want a shot, right? I am a chicken for pain. But anyway, we get something good out of it, clean teeth for 1 more year. And the third kind that I hope never happens to anybody, is that there is something wrong, and this is what we call indemnity, that we didn't do anything to receive, but we go through it with kind of grateful heart. We'll come out the other side, and we can live. Okay, so these are kind of three kinds of suffering, but
Sorry, what?
so the first one, three kinds of suffering. So the first one is, we didn't really suffer, but we should have gratitude. Three kinds of gratitude. Thank you for a little birthday present. I don't deserve it, but blah, blah. Okay, nothing. All right, thank you. You're welcome. Second one, children. We want the children. You go to that, in America they have Lamaze classes. Yeah, you go to birthing class and they show you what's going to happen. You didn't, it all looks good on the screen, but when you get in there, they forgot to mention that it really hurts, And the third one is something that we become grateful for because we're alive, We didn't die and we can continue to say or think what we want to, but we're undeserving. We didn't do anything wrong, right? But that kind of people, they're the ones I think that Jane was talking about. They're the ones that can give a good example in their life or have a good message for all of us. Maximize the things we have, which is great, and just go forward. And those are very admirable people. I'm sure you can think of some, your friends, whatever. Recently, my doctor friend, whom I mentioned, was found to have a tumor in her brain. She's a medical. I said, Karen, you're a doctor. Didn't you feel anything? Heard, vision? No. She said nothing. Well, they took out the tumor, sent it to the Mayo Clinic, which is the best cancer hospital in America. After 3 months, the cancer clinic did not know what kind of tumor it was. So the doctors went ahead and in Boston, best place for doctors, Boston, went there, they took it out, and then she had a stroke on her left side.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay, that's good, getting better. She has a house in Maine for the summer. She went to the rehab center there. And for some reason, she had a hurt on her leg, and it got so bad she developed sepsis. They had to amputate her left leg. She's a medical doctor and didn't see it coming. But my other 70 friends, 3 friends, 70 years, one's a teacher, one's a doctor, and there's me. So we went up there together to see our doctor friend, and still, she was okay, still in a wheelchair, and very kind, still the mother of her family, and the reason that her family had followed her to Maine to live in the first place. So we can still be grateful for little things, but the biggest thing is we're alive. We're alive. Yeah. So anyway, so my son is the person who inspires me, and you can see, oh mom, and he's like that. But I want to learn a lesson from him, to be grateful every day.
When I listen your story, I have a wonderful book, Why Bad Things Happen to Good People.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a Jewish rabbi who wrote that.
Yeah. The minister said that it is a time to test your faith. Don't complain, embrace the environment, embrace everything, 100%. Don't complain, and God will do His miracle through that.
Thank you.
But
I
not
agree.
only that, I think it's liberating something from the past. Everybody,
Maybe.
I really feel
Maybe, yes.
there is a heavy load from the past, and God is desperately searching for people who can indemnify it. Some people cannot take it, some people better can take it, and I think this is if more people could take, then we feel more and more gratitude everybody.
Another point is that usually everybody, me, focus on our own things all the time, 24/7.
Right.
But
True.
the pastor say that intercessory prayer
Yes.
pray for other people, not just me. Or focusing on other people and just help them and forgive them. I read the article about the woman had a cancer, and as soon as that news from the doctor, she started to forgive everyone. In her mind, there are so many unforgiving people. So from that time, she write forgiving letters to everybody. I made a mistake. I hold your story in my heart for so long. So at that time, complete recovering from her heart and heal the cancer. That's the healing power from the inside.
That's the best medicine. Forgiveness is the best medicine. Forgive everybody for everything.
Me too.
Well, actually, I have a confession to make. It's like I want to confess.
Okay.
So like I had to forgive. It took me 40 years of my life to forgive my real father. Chinchai, like I'm still crying thinking of that. I couldn't forgive him for 40 years.
Oh.
But then the lady, Susan Crothwaite, came from England, and she told me that I have to forgive my father. I was like, how do you know? She never knew about my father. So I had to forgive him for treating my mom badly. My mom was 19 years old when she married that guy who actually really abused her and didn't want to live with her, and I was only 3. Anyway, so I was like, I had to forgive him. Not because he didn't love me, didn't raise me. The other man, my stepfather, raised me. But the way he treated my mom was totally unfair. She's such an amazing woman. So it took me 40 years to forgive him. After that, small kind of like, all I had to do is, I had to say, I forgive you. And from now on, I will love you. So that was very simple. I said it out loud with some, I guess it was a candle. And after that, there's like a heavy load went off my shoulders. So I started kind of like feeling, oh, I love my father. Thank you. I don't know. I think he is already dead. I don't know how he died, but we had no connection. But I felt like he's okay, and I'm okay with accepting him who he is. And I cannot judge him for whatever he's done. I'm his daughter. I'm grateful that him and my mama made me, right? And my mama didn't abort me. I'm grateful for that. So, and after that, my life got so much better. So much better. And my husband told me, is that something because everything is kind of okay now, really good. Life is good. He's like, life is good. And we had met at that time. I said, well, because I guess that ceremony I went through to forgive my father. So I can relate to forgiveness so much. And the cancer, anything can be cured because of forgiveness. Right? Thank you so much. For
Amen.
Adieu. Woman, a woman. A woman. Yeah, I remember.
Wow. That's one.
So, yeah, thank you. Yeah, everybody. Good. And